I walk to work. Errol Flynn trots along ahead of me, but that's dogs for you. Most people run only when they're late or when they're young people in a series. I walk. This is where I work. It's in a state of revision right now. We're remodeling the place. Even with the confusion out in the halls, our new newsroom gives us something we've never had before. A place to plan coverage of the news the way it should be planned and the way it should be covered. There are 20 of us who work in or out of this office. Ted Groves is my number 2, the guy whose job it is to keep up with everything that's happening everywhere and assign the people to cover what we consider the important happenings. Ted doubles as weekend sportscaster when Harry Callis is on the road with the Astros or the Cougars, but his prime function is that of coordinating the best news operation in Houston, and he does it well. At the other end of the room, Pete Maroney works. An amazing young man, produces Ron Stone's 5 p.m. portion of the evening news, researches editorials, does newscasts on the morning show. The morning show, 5 hours a week, head-to-head against Today. Pete covers the news. Al Bell and Joy Newfer provide guests, features, and entertainment that says, "This is Houston," to Houstonians. If there's a star in town, a social or civic function, an incident of interest in this city, Al and Joy tell you about it and bring you the people involved, consistently. The word applies as well to the news at noon. Consistent. In a different format, Al is here again, this time with Joanne King, Channel 11's women's editor. Al does the news. Joanne talks fashions, people, women, with equal authority. Proof? Well, 90,000 homes, 60% of the audience, consistently. You want more proof? She's in Europe tonight, witnessing previews of this year's fashions. Just part of her job. My work keeps me in close contact with all these people, none possibly so much as with Ron Stone. Now, what can I say about Ron? A good newsman, a good writer, a funny person with unmatched insight. Yes, a delightful human being, too, and you already know that. Ron anchors our weeknight 10 o'clock report and begins our early coverage with the 5 o'clock segment of the evening news. Just an hour later, with 2 equally delightful people, I go into the studio for the 6 o'clock evening news. Ed Edwards and Sid Lasher look like they're having a good time doing what they do. They are. And so am I. You know, we discovered long ago that hard, serious news doesn't have to be laughed at, but it doesn't have to be related as if at a funeral either. We present the news the way we know best, and that's by being ourselves. Ron walks in with Ed and Sid 4 hours later on weeknights, and once again the same atmosphere prevails. Ron preceded me in this 10 o'clock seat, and when it became necessary for me to work daytimes to conduct the total news operation, there was only one very obvious thing to do: ask him to take it over again. The thing about it is, these men are pros. Ed Edwards lives and breathes the sports he covers. He's a familiar face at the World Series, the Super Bowl, and the neighborhood sandlot. If that sounds like advertising copy, it's still true. Ed knows, and more important, he conveys that knowledge. Sid? Well, Sid's in a class by himself. Weathermen have been known to be dry, humorless, technical, and very boring. None of which can be said of Sid. He's been called Houston's favorite television personality, and not without reason. The friends he's made for himself and for us are in great measure directly responsible for the success we enjoy. Thank you, Sid. On weekends, we normally stay home. We're replaced at 6 by Steve Edwards, Harry Callis, and Jerry Dale, and then at 10 by Steve alone. I think it may be that a good reporter has to be born with a sense of news, like an actor or a ball player. If that's so, Steve was. I probably shouldn't say this because I certainly don't feel like being put out to pasture yet, and I know Ron doesn't either. But Steve Edwards could well be the newscaster of the future. Harry Callis is new, to Channel 11 anyway. He's known to you as a member of the Astros and Cougars broadcasting teams, for which he's already received a national reputation as one of the very best. Harry's on the road tonight with the ball club, but on Saturdays and Sundays, when the teams are in town, Harry's part of our team, too. Jerry Dale is the voice of Channel 11, if that's a title you can give someone. He handles the weather assignment on the weekends, and he often tells you about it after having flown to meet what's coming in earlier in the day. Not every weathercaster in this business goes to quite that much trouble. He's also the station's staff announcer and director of audio production. We keep him busy, but with good reason. He's good. These are the people I work with, the ones you see on the air anyway. It's trite for me to say that we're part of a larger group effort, but we are, of course. We are, all of us, aware of that and aware of what this group effort has accomplished and will continue to accomplish. We work in this building with its new desks and new rugs and tape machines and God knows what kinds of technical equipment, and walls that aren't all up yet, and carpenters hammering and plumbers plumbing and paper hangers papering. We work here together with one goal: to bring you total television with an eye on the news and the clock and a hand on the pulse of this city. We hope we read that pulse correctly.